Hello, we are back in my sewing studio, and as you can see, I have made some changes. I have been up to some work. I have not been filming it so far. I apologize, but we are going to do a little bit of an update. I'm going to show you what we're working on, what things have been changed. We are going to unpack basically my whole sewing room, and then we'll just see what other stuff we get up to this week. Little projects in here, potentially maybe some sewing projects, and just normal life stuff. So first off, we have to talk about paint colors because that is the biggest thing that I asked for feedback on last time. And if you watched my original tour video, you know that the colors I was considering were kind of bluish, like dusty blue walls, and then dark red doors on the closets. As you can see, we did not go this route. I'm very glad I left the samples that I had painted on the wall. I left them up for several days. I bought more samples after that. I had also mentioned potentially doing like a cream color on the walls. I bought several different kinds of like creams and even like buttery yellow, like light creamy yellowish colors. Anyway, I left them up for several days, and what I discovered is this room is quite dark, especially near the back when it is overcast, which right now it's summer in Oregon, and so there is a lot of sun and sunshiny days. Today's like slightly overcast, but on overcast days, the back of the room in particular gets quite dark. And there is a lot of blue and green light coming in from the windows because there is basically a ton of trees, foresty trees, right out my windows, and a lot of blue light from the sky. So there was a very like cool toned blue vibe to the whole room. And so painting the walls also blue with the dark red closets at the back was just kind of making everything sort of depressing, even though it's a cute color combo. And I really, really like that color combo for other rooms. It just was not working for this room. So what we did, in all of the cream colors that I painted, the one I ended up going with has a really pretty red peachy undertone, and that combats the greenish bluish light that is coming in from the windows. So it does look quite neutral in this room. The color I went with is called Amelia Blush by Sherwin-Williams. And when you look it up on their website or even just other examples of rooms, it is like a very peachy blush color. But in this room, it's coming off quite neutral, which I love. I think that that is perfect. And I'm very glad that I kind of took all of this into account when I was choosing colors. So the walls are Amelia Blush. The closets, as you can see, we painted a blue color. I was really back and forth on blue or green. I eventually went with blue and I love it. Off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what that blue is called, but I will link it in the description so you can go find the paint color I used. You guys were right with the ones I painted on the wall. They were too like greenish, so I went with more of like a cornflower blue. And I also tried some like dusty blues as well. But what we ended up going with on the closet, I think is perfect. I also ended up adding these like kind of braided trim pieces to the doors. Originally, they were just flat, and I feel like that was a little bit depressing, just not the vibe, too boring. So they were really simple. I just bought trim pieces from our local like home improvement store, and I nail gunned them to the door and wood glued them, like wood glue, nail gun, ching ching, and then painted over all of it. It was very simple. My other plan with the door that I don't think I talked about last time is I think I'm going to paint on it some kind of like Scandinavian flower designs. I'll show some inspo here of kind of what I'm envisioning, but I think that will help break up like the solid blueness of the doors, because the doors are, I mean, they're very blue, which I love, but I do think they need a little bit of something on them to kind of break up that like solid blue color. So eventually I'll be painting those doors. Not gonna happen this week, but that's a plan we'll get to hopefully soon. And then my table, I painted the legs of the table red, and I may actually repaint them because the color of those table legs is sangria, and it is red with kind of like an orangey tone to it, but it looks so orange in this room, I think partially because of all the blue in here. And also there's just something about like the direct sunlight hitting it that is making it look quite orange, because from the other side, I feel like it looks more of like the true red that I thought it was when I chose the color. So anyway, I do love the red table legs. If you'll remember, they used to be kind of like an almondy color. So this is a bit more fun. I like a pop of red in the room, but nothing super overwhelming. And then I have my desks along the windowed wall at the far end of the office. And excuse the clutter, I know I have not cleaned up spotlessly in here yet because I'm going to be unpacking everything very soon. This whole room is going to be super messy in a minute. So these desks were the same desks that I had in my old office. I feel like they look really great in the space. I got a new desk chair, which I do really love. It's very comfy. It like reclines a little bit. It's great. I'm like 5% regretting my color choice. I think I'll like it more once this room is filled more, but the solid yellow with like the solid blue doors, the solid red table, it's kind of giving very like preschool primary colors right now. I think once everything else is in here, it's gonna be fine though. Okay, so the inside of the closets right now are painted yellow. It is quite a bright and bold yellow, but my plan was to wallpaper the inside. So this closet is mostly shelves. This closet is like hanging things. I'm going to wallpaper just like the wall, right? Like I'm not gonna wallpaper each of the shelves. So it'll be quite broken up on this side, and on this side, it'll be more all over wallpaper. Anyway, I like the vibes of them so far, but even this, it feels very, again, like preschool primary colory. So I think adding the wallpaper, which I have some samples we're gonna look at, will help kind of break that up with a bit of a pattern. So I have 3 wallpaper samples. I also can't remember off the top of my head where I got these from. So sample number 1, originally I was thinking I would be painting the inside of the closets yellow, and then wallpaper also would be pretty yellow. So this one is kind of just a yellow stripe with some flowers on it. Can you envision it? How cute would that be? That's kind of my front runner, but I'm torn because I also have this option that is blue and red with a little bit of like these little dots are yellow. So I feel like it, you know, goes well with the yellow and the blue and the red. I almost feel like I do like this one the most probably, but I don't want there to be too much blue and red in the whole room. So I don't know, you guys let me know. I mean, there will also still be quite a lot of yellow because like the shelves and whatnot are still gonna stay painted yellow. And then option number 3, this one is a bit more neutral. So it's pretty much all flowers and squiggles and their primary color flowers. So that would maybe be the most like neutral option. So let me know what your vote is. I'm really not in any rush. I'm gonna move everything into the closets and I will wallpaper it eventually, maybe sometime in the next few weeks. Also a note about closets and doors. This door right here goes out into the hallway. So I've taken the door off and I actually got a new door that is coming. It's on its way and it is a 3/4 window door. I'll put a little like picture right here of the unfinished version of what it's going to look like. I am going to be painting it blue. I wanted to have windows for many reasons, but I think breaking up the door with windows is gonna help with all of this, like, there's just so much solid blue right at the end of here. I think painting the doors is gonna help with that, but also having this 5th door over here be mostly windows will also help. So the inside of that door will also be painted blue. I'll also probably like paint flowers or whatever on it a little bit. And then the glass for the windows is going to be clear glass, but I've ordered these window films, which I think they got delivered. We should open them this week. They're window films that look kind of like textured glass. I got a couple different ones to try out. And then over in this corner here, that right now is just a pile of garbage, I'm gonna get an armchair right there. The one that I really love and am obsessed with is very expensive, or at least it's expensive to me. It's like $4,000, which is more than I've ever spent on any furniture ever, like by a lot. I just can't get it out of my brain. I've been like combing Facebook Marketplace, looking, I mean, secondhand would be the best, but even looking at like other like dupe versions of it, and I just can't find something that's the same. The things I love about it, I love that it is kind of like a wooden base. It's not just like a fully upholstered armchair. I do want that to kind of break up fabric and color of it. And then for the cushion, I love that it's gingham, and I love that it's kind of like a neutral gingham because it's brown and cream. There's just a lot of different colors going on in here. The more things I have in here, the less like busy those colors will feel, because right now they just feel so like blue, red, yellow, brick wall. There just needs to be a little bit more cohesion. Anyway, but I do really like the idea of the chair being some sort of pattern, like stripes, gingham, something like that, but being still kind of a neutral color. I just feel like that chair is perfect, and I'm really scared that I'm gonna end up buying it. I mean, if you guys know of any chairs that basically look the same as that, but are like 1/20th of the price, let me know. Oh, and I didn't even tell you about the rug. I got this rug from Schoolhouse, and I love it so much. It's genuinely perfect for what I was looking for. The only thing is that I ideally wanted a rug that was 6x9, and this rug in particular only came in 8x10 or 5x7. 8x10 was gonna be way too big. I measured the floor and it would just like, it would have been like wall to wall. It would have been too big. 5x7 is a little smaller than I would have wanted, and I think especially in the space right now where this room is quite empty, the rug kind of does look small for the space, but I'm hoping once we get more things in here, it won't look quite as small. I really wish it came in 6x9. That would have been perfect. What else have I done in here? I've replaced all of the outlets and switch plate covers. But yeah, I think it is coming together. So let's unpack this room. I'm gonna go get some boxes. Okay, right off the bat, we're getting into some really good stuff. So I keep all of my patterns in these little like file boxes. Let me get one of my other ones. And each one has kind of like a different category. So this one is my patterns, you can see there. So these are all patterns that I have made, either ones that I have like published to the world or ones that I've just kind of like self-drafted and kept the pieces for. They're all labeled. Some of them are in files just like this. This one is a square neck tank that I self-drafted last year, kept the pieces for it. And then some of them are in more like manila folders. Honestly, the only reason I have both is because like I started one way and then ran out and just used what I had on hand. This one is a Ruby Vest. PAH means print at home, and then taped together. I feel like this system works well for me, especially since like I know there are people who like hardcore organize specific ways they like label things and fold things and whatever. This works well for me because it's organized, but it's not like I don't have to be crazy about it to maintain it. Anyway, so those are my patterns. And then I have one box for other people's patterns from other designers and things, which I really don't have a ton of those. And then these are my kids' patterns from my old business, Pine and Honey, when I used to make kids clothes. So this is like memory lane for real. This is actually so great we're going through this because I get asked all the time if I'm going to release these patterns like as digital patterns. And I would love to eventually, like genuinely I would love to, but I don't think you guys understand. Like when I was making these patterns and running my shop, I knew so much less than I know now. Like now I know very like official professional ways to design patterns. I was really just flying by the seat of my pants. So like every pattern that I made was literally just like, this is printer paper that I just cut up and like drew with pencil. So this is the front of a bodice in size 12 to 18 months. And I would like binder clip all these pieces together. This was like a flutter sleeve piece. Yeah, like all of my patterns are like this right now. All of my kids' patterns are just in little teeny pieces like this. And I made them before I knew everything I know now. So in order to release these patterns to the public, I would have to go through each pattern that I made and digitize them and kind of like tweak them, make them much more official, much more correct, make sure they're sized correctly. It would be like a whole process, which I of course would be happy to do, and it's worth the effort to go through and do all of that, but it is a big task. It's not just like, oh yeah, I have them on hand and I can just like throw them up on Etsy. That's not how it works. It's gonna be quite a big job, which maybe I'll get to someday. I need to get like a basket, you know, like a big, in fact, what if I made a basket? Like a quilted tote type basket? Yeah. Okay, I've been collecting all these frames like at thrift stores and stuff whenever I go. My plan is to, on this wall, have like kind of a gallery wall of all sorts of art. Textile art in particular would be cute. Kind of like meaningful things. I did get this tapestry at a thrift store, vintage store in Seattle when I went recently. It looks like a painting. It's all like hand done tapestry. It's really cool. So that will be a project and probably a video sometime in the next few weeks, is making my gallery wall. I was also thinking I might paint some of these frames. I've been collecting ideas for like how to paint frames and like different kinds of like mats and things like that in picture frames to make like really interesting gallery walls. I don't know. So I've been preparing for that. I think it's gonna be cute. If you watched my fabric organization video, I talked about the different piles that I keep. So I have like a blue pile, a yellow pile, a red pile, kind of like a brownish pile, a white pile, because I always look for colors first when I'm grabbing for fabric. And they packed away really nicely because all of the piles stayed intact. All of the boxes have been unpacked in the closets. My whole office is a huge mess. I have a ton of yarn and crap on this table. All of my desks are covered in random stuff. My machines are out, they're still bubble wrapped. There are so many things I still kind of need to organize and put away. I also have all my candles and jars and pots and things like that. So we're making progress. We're not quite there yet though. Today we're going to the plant store with my daughter. She wanted some plants for her room. I need some plants for this office. This space right here is kind of like a little alcove behind the fireplace. The desks don't go all the way to the end. There's a little bit of a space there and it's kind of an awkward space, but it can't just stay empty. Like it needs something. So I'm probably gonna end up putting, I have some floating shelves that I actually have had for a while and I need to put them up. So I'm probably gonna put some floating shelves above here. And then I may potentially put like a little storage ottoman or bench of some sort. I don't know. I don't need to figure that out yet, but I'll probably put floating shelves there. So plants there would be cute too. But before we go do that, let me show you the closets. The closets still have a lot of work to go on them, but they're in a pretty good place for now. So this one is all of my fabric, notions, elastic, buttons, things like that. Fat quarters, scraps of fabric. I have a few bolts in here. I have like some knitting and like crochet stuff, like my blocking mats, my wool wash, my yarn winder, things like that. I think it's looking pretty good so far. I think these shelves, they are close to twice as deep as my other closet. So there's like so much space and they're so tall, which is very nice. However, I do think I need at the bottom of this closet, there's like a lot of space to the floor. And I think I said this yesterday, but I would love some like baskets, either like rope baskets or maybe quilted baskets. I need to do some research on that and probably make a project out of it. I'm excited to work on that. Right now, this one has a lot of my clothes in it that were in my shed previously. I'll probably end up moving most of these into my bedroom. My iron and my ironing board is in here right now. I'm not exactly sure where I want to put it in this room, and I feel like I don't want to pressure myself to figure it out right now. So it's just gonna stay in the closet for a little bit. I have some more bolts of fabric and just some things that I really don't reach for a lot. I have my patterns up there that I showed you guys yesterday, some picture frames, things that I'm going to be figuring out in this room eventually. And again, I feel like I have enough space for maybe some baskets or totes if I had a need for them. I know I'm gonna fill these closets up to the brim eventually, because even just on my table right now, I have a bunch of batting that needs to be in some sort of basket or tote and all my yarn, which I have another idea for yarn. Let me show you. There's a little like nook right here that's a bit of a recessed alcove, and I really would like to make use of it. Floating shelves or something would be great right there. Like I could have shelves there and then the armchair kind of like out in front of it sort of. And potentially that could work well for all of this yarn here that I need to organize somehow. I had also mentioned maybe putting yarn on floating shelves over in that little alcove, but I had a lot of comments from people telling me that the sun can like damage the colors or change the colors or whatever. And so the alcove right by the window maybe isn't the best spot. I don't know. I might do it anyway because a lot of times I ignore things like that. But this alcove here is very much out of the sun. I mean, it's like tucked away. There's like a window here, but it doesn't get like a ton of light. So that's where we're at, and we are going to go plant shopping now. Wish me luck. I had plants in my other sewing office and I actually kept them alive for quite a while. And so I have faith. I feel like I can do it. And I think plants in here would be so cute. Anyway, let's go get some. Okay, plant tour. I asked you guys on Instagram for recommendations of plants that I could probably not kill. The number one recommendation was a pothos. I think I'm saying that right, which I'm pretty sure is what I had in my old studio that did stay alive for very long. I eventually did kill it. I was very negligent during a small period of time, and yeah, it died. We got a new one. Another recommendation was a peace lily, which is what this one is. I tried to look for ones that were more commonly requested, like a ZZ plant was requested a lot, a Monstera was. They didn't have any of those there, but peace lily I got a few times, and I feel like it's cute. There's a little something to it aside from just greenery. And then another super requested one was a snake plant. So this one is really small. In fact, the actual pot of it is like super duper tiny. And I had this pot at home, so I felt like it would probably fit, but it is even pretty small. I did Google if you're supposed to leave it in the plastic pot or pot it into like the decorative pot. And Google says to leave it in the plastic pots, which I think is a mistake that I had made last time. I repotted them like directly into these decorative ones, and not all of them have drainage. This white one has drainage, but my other ones don't. And so that possibly could have been part of the problem. However, I think I'm gonna need to get some bigger plastic pot things because they grow, right? And I feel like they're already like brimming. And my daughter got a snake plant for her room. It came with this little, I mean, it has a pot, but it came with this little one. Anyways, so we'll see. We'll have a competition who can keep theirs alive for longer. I feel like 3 is a good start, and if I'm keeping them alive and it's going well and I'm learning about plants and getting better at it, then I would love to have lots more both in my office and like around my house too. I feel like it's scary to start a new skill. I feel like having houseplants is a skill. Some people are really good at it, and for a long time I just haven't even really attempted it because I just felt like I needed to do so much research and know so much about it to even get started. But as I know with everything else, like sewing, knitting, crocheting, all of those other things, if I keep waiting until I feel like an expert, I'm just never gonna do it. So I just need to get started, move ahead, and I know eventually I will feel much more confident. So here's to hoping these don't die while I build up my plant skills.
The box? Okay. Nice jump.
I did it and I didn't die.
My goal for today is to finish up some home projects around the office. I need to put knobs on these doors. I need to put magnetic catches on them. You may have noticed this closet here doesn't close. It doesn't like catch all the way. Need to fix that. And then I think I'm gonna hang my hanging shelves or like floating shelves. And I have some other like packages and things to open. So let's open the packages first and then we'll put some knobs on. Okay, this package is, oh, this is exciting. Okay, these are cling film things that I was going to put on my main door in my office. It's still coming. It's gonna have clear glass on it, and then I bought these to like put on top of it to like look like it's maybe stained glass or textured glass. So I got 2 different kinds, and I was just gonna kind of see which one I liked better. I just wanted to kind of see the vibes. I really don't want it to look bad. Like I've seen people use these, and in some pictures they look awful, and in some pictures it's like, no, that actually looks really cute. And so I want to just kind of like try them out. This is the first one. So it has a paper backing on it right now. It's clear, but it is like textured. It has kind of like a bubbly texture to it. I don't know if you'll be able to see, which was one of my biggest questions when I was like buying these and looking for them. I didn't want them to be really thin and crappy looking. I wanted them to look like textured glass. So there's that one. I'll put what the door looks like here so that you guys can remember. But basically I would be cutting like squares of this and putting them in the panes of the door. And I don't know if I would just leave it like this. So again, it has a paper backing on it. So I feel like it's hard to kind of tell what exactly it's gonna look like on the door. But I may potentially see if I can either paint or like use like really nice markers, like permanent markers or something, to color in some of these flowers and do like little colorful designs just to add a little bit of color in the door. I'll put some examples here of kind of the stained glass vibe I'm thinking. And that could maybe work. It could maybe be cute. Okay, here's this one. This one's a little bit busier. Yeah, see, this one's cute. Can you see the texture on this one? It also has a bit of like bubbliness to it. And oh, actually, ooh, I don't know if you can see. Okay, each like shape is a different texture, which I really love. So like this shape right here is like uniform dots. And then this shape is a little bit more like pebbly and not uniform. And then this shape right here kind of has like a herringbone texture to it. So it's all very different, which I think gives it a really authentic look, sort of. I don't know. I kind of like this one a little bit more. And again, I would love to experiment with potentially coloring it in. I don't know, I feel like it could be cute or hideous. We'll try it out. So those are the two like stained glass film things. I'll link them in the description, but let me know which one we like. I really don't want to leave my glass completely clear because I want a little bit more privacy. So I guess worst case scenario, if I end up not liking either of them, and I can take them off too. Like if I put them on and don't like them, I can remove them, which is the whole point. But if I don't end up liking either of these, or if I don't like kind of the quality of how they look on the window, I may potentially just get like privacy film that just adds a little bit of texture to the window. And I think that would look totally fine. But I like these. These are good. I found a few online that were like already colors, which is kind of what I was thinking of doing originally. But I felt like all the colored ones I saw looked really cheap and like obviously not real, which they aren't real, but yeah, I just didn't want it to look like super dumb. Okay, this package I believe is handles for my doors. Okay, I hope these work. I hope they're not huge. I didn't measure them or anything. Oh, they do look kind of big. They're just like little oak wood knobs from Schoolhouse, which is where I got my rug from. Okay, they're definitely bigger than the knobs that were on there originally, but I actually feel like they're cute. They won't be too bad. I just wanted a bit of contrast. I wanted something that wasn't just like painted. I feel like there's a lot of things in my room right now that are just like painted instead of like an actual texture, pattern, design, something. Let's attach some knobs and get this room a little closer to the finish line. All right, we have knobs that I actually think are quite cute. This door closes. It used to not stay closed. Now it stays closed. This door will not stay closed. Basically, there's just too much pressure right here. The door is not closing. So that's annoying. I'll figure it out. I did decide to put my yarn on these shelves for now. It won't stay there eventually. I know that by the window is not the best place for the yarn to stay, but for now I just need it kind of off my table and out of the way. So it'll be on these shelves for now. The plants will probably also move eventually. This is all very much in flux. Things are going to be changing a lot over the next few weeks. We're just gonna kind of see where things feel right. But I don't think it looks too bad. And I love that all the empty spaces in my office are slowly filling up and having a little bit more character and color and texture to them. So it's not just a big empty room. And then for the little alcove space by my fireplace, I was doing a little research last night and I found a couple shelves that I actually really, really love and are spookily similar dimensions to that space. Like they would fit perfectly in there. And so I really want to get them. I was hoping to get something secondhand. I just hate the like buying of furniture, and I don't know, there's so much like overconsumption of like constantly updating rooms and whatever. And so I'm trying to really think through like, what are the necessities? Buy secondhand if possible. And if you need to buy new, do so, but like with good brands. There's just so much, I don't know. I just feel so guilty about it. Like I don't want to be buying stuff that I'm just like throwing away eventually and crappy brands that are just like churning out a million things. And I don't know. Do you guys feel stressed out about that? It stresses me out. So I really would love to find something secondhand. Anyway, I think it's gonna be difficult because the dimensions are like kind of odd, but I may scour it for, I don't know, a few days or a week. I do need to get something in there pretty soon though. It really is like a need. So I can't wait forever. Like the bench and ottoman and things like that, I can scroll Facebook for that for like 6 months and I wouldn't be mad about it. And that's kind of the state of my house right now, to be honest, is there's so many things we need. There's like tons of empty spaces that I'm just kind of like taking my time, which is really why this video is not a grand reveal. Like I hope you guys weren't hoping to see the room in its completion. It's just gonna be an ever evolving situation. I'm really opposed to the idea of doing like a huge Target haul just to like fill the room up to say it's done. Anyway, I think that we got some really good stuff done today, and I'm pleased with our progress. We're doing a little crochet at the park, so I need to update you on my crochet projects and my knitting because I'm still a knitting newbie. Okay, this is my Sophie scarf that I started while I was in Maine, which if you missed my vlog where I like documented my learning to knit process, you can watch that. But okay, this is it finished. Maybe. I actually, okay, look, I started it in Maine and got most of the way through and then realized that I was just doing a lot of things wrong and it was coming out like really lumpy and not great. And so I was like, I'm just gonna start over now because I feel like I've got the hang of it and I think it will look so much better. So basically I just started, they're connected. I started another one, unraveling one and making another. So this one is actually quite uniform. I'm pleased with it in a lot of ways, but two questions I have about it. If anybody wants to, any knitters want to maybe answer my question. Okay, first of all, do you see how like one side of it is a straight line and then it kind of comes to a point here in the not middle, which we'll get to in a second, but it like comes to a point in the middle. One side is completely straight and one side comes to a point, and I should probably look more carefully. I've been having trouble finding a rolled out example of a Sophie scarf. I thought that it would have kind of been increasing on both sides so that both sides are increasing and decreasing, but all of my increases ended up on one side. So I might be counting wrong. That's question number two, or question number one. And then question number two is that it's kind of hard to tell here, but the apex of it is not completely in the middle. So on this side I was increasing and then came to like this point, and then on this side I was decreasing, and the decreasing side is quite a bit longer, like a few inches longer than the increasing side. So I must have just counted wrong. I don't think it's supposed to be that way. So I'm considering maybe redoing it because it really didn't take that long, but it feels insane to redo this twice. So anyway, that's my knitting update. I'm feeling quite good about it. I sort of want to move on to a different project though. I'll probably do something else first and then decide if I want to redo that. That's why I haven't like officially cut it and woven in my ends. Okay, this is the Island cardigan from Jewel Makes. Oh my gosh, guys, I haven't actually like unrolled it and given it a proper look. It looks really good on camera. So this is the back panel here, and then this is like one side of the front of the cardigan. So basically I need to make the other front side of it and make the sleeves. And I think there's like ties, or you can do buttons or something. I'm really liking the vibes of it so far. I'm loving this like delicate kind of floral situation. It's so cute. Oh, I'm really pleased with it. My plan is to do short sleeves and have it be kind of like a summer cardigan. That's the plan. I'm loving it so much. It's coming together pretty quickly and it's really been fun. I feel like now I'm quite not proficient, maybe proficient, just like I'm solid on my crocheting, and so now I can kind of do fun things that are a little bit trickier than just like double crochets. Like I can do kind of more designs. So anyway, that's coming along. I'm hoping to finish it in the next few days, and I especially love this contrast here of seeing myself make like a pretty decent crochet cardigan that's like really cute and coming together versus my like first project Sophie scarf that's like a bit lumpy and weird. I love summer because I get to go to the park and let my kids like run around, make friends, hang out, and I get to just sit at a table and crochet. I love that they're big kids and that they can do that now. I think I've gotten my office to a pretty good place this week with all of the little tweaks and jobs and updates we've done. Obviously, there's still a long way to go. This is certainly not a grand reveal, but I have set up just about everything to make it functional, which is really the main thing, the most important thing, right? I'm interested to know how you guys are feeling about it so far, what things you're really loving. Obviously, I asked for your opinions on a few things. The wallpaper for my office, I still need you to vote on that. I need you to vote on like the stained glass, cling film, vinyl things. And yeah, I just want to hear your general thoughts. I think it's really coming together. I got a comment from somebody, I think in response to like an Instagram story, that had said, wow, this space looks so much more like you, which that's exactly how I feel about this whole space. I loved my shed. I did feel like it was very much me, an iconic space, truly. But as I get older and know my style better and know what things I like versus just what is objectively cutesy or whatever, I really feel like I've honed my style. And I think that this room is really coming together as my style and me. It's like super, super me, it feels like. Anyway, I can't wait to fast forward like a year. I feel like it's gonna be so much cuter then. Okay, I have 3 thoughts to leave you with that I also kind of need you to vote on. There's so many things I need your opinions on. The first like project I was planning to do in this office is I have a handful of t-shirts. You guys may have noticed that I love just wearing like big baggy t-shirts, especially in the summer. It's like my go-to. And I have a handful of t-shirts that I've bought and love, but usually I end up hemming most of my t-shirts. This one is hemmed. We can talk more about it when I actually do the hemming. But I have a very specific way I do it where I keep the original hem, and I feel like I've kind of developed it over time and perfected how I do it. Anyway, it's nothing like crazy, but would you be interested in seeing me do that? Because I was gonna potentially film it this week, but I just ran out of time. So let me know if you want me to televise my hemming of the graphic tees, because I have quite a few that I need to do and I could walk through that process. Thing number 2, the first like full in-depth tutorial that I'm going to film in this new sewing space is a new lane pants tutorial. I've talked about it a few times already, but it is official. I'm hoping to do it maybe end of this week, early next week. That tutorial was the first one that I ever did. It holds up, it is helpful, but there's so many things that I would change about it and do better now. So I am going to be refilming that. The tutorial needs to be like all the bells and whistles, drawstrings, cargo pockets, top stitching, all of that stuff I'll need to do. And so the 2 fabrics that I am debating between are 2 different denims. They're both, I think, a 6-ounce denim. So they're like kind of medium weight, not super duper heavyweight. The lane pants do work for heavyweight fabrics if you're interested in that, but I think a 6-ounce will be good. So I just need you guys to vote on which of these denims you like better. I think I'm leaning toward the light wash, just based on like, I don't know, things I like to wear. Maybe it's because it's summertime, and so I'm envisioning a lot of like cream tops. I have like some knit and crocheted tops that I feel like would look really cute with this light wash denim, or I have a dark wash denim. Both of these fabrics I believe are Robert Kaufman brand. I got them from Z Fabrics in Maine. Anyway, so I need you guys to vote light wash or dark wash denim for my lane pants tutorial that I'm filming very soon. The last thing that I need to update you guys about, I wanted to tip you off to a new vlogger recommendation I have. If you enjoy my vlogs, enjoy watching me, which you probably do if you've watched all the way till the end of this. My sister recently started a YouTube channel, and I feel like our vibes are very similar. She doesn't do so much sewing, but she does like thrifting, styling, fashion stuff. thrift flips she does, like upcycling things. She's also a writer and a mom, and she's just like cozy, chill vibes. And genuinely, she like is the blueprint. I feel like growing up, she's my older sister, and so growing up, I'd always like borrow her clothes and was inspired by the things she was wearing. And she's always been like a thrifting and styling genius. I feel like that's not a gene that I really have, but I love seeing her outfits. And anyway, I feel like you would probably enjoy her if you enjoy my stuff. So you can go watch her. Her name is Allison. Her Instagram handle is Pig Stylish. I don't remember if Pig Stylish is her YouTube name. I'll link her in the comments. And you can go leave comments on how similar we look. We hear that a lot. I'm actually curious if you guys think that, the people who like watch me a lot. Obviously, I think we look like sisters, but it is always so surprising by how many people tell me that we look the exact same. Like anytime I post her on my stories or anything, people are like, oh, I legitimately thought that was you. So anyway, new vlogger recommendation for you. Thanks for hanging out with me this week. I have so many good video plans coming up. So this summer is gonna be chock full of fun things. Now that I'm settled and moved in, we are going to start churning through sewing things and vlogs. And yeah, I have so much coming that I can't wait to show you. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.